home has unique insurance needs, and today's guest literally has you covered. We're here with Taryn Hatch with Hatch Family Insurance. Taryn, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, introduce yourself to our viewers.
So my name is Taryn Hatch, and I have Hatch Family Insurance, which is a Farm Bureau agency, and we're locally owned and enjoy taking care of the Jackson community and surrounding. We have lots of clients all over Michigan, and we offer coverages from home auto. We do life insurance. Health insurance can be done through Farm Bureau as well. Commercial is one of our biggest products also. So it's cover about everything that you need.
Absolutely. You can really take care of everyone with all the insurances that you offer. Today we're going to focus on homeowners insurance, and I'll ask you a few questions about that. But let's take a step back and talk about your involvement with the Jackson Area Association of Realtors. I know that you were recently voted in as the affiliate board of director member, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited to have been voted in as the affiliate director. JAR is a great organization, and our local JAR offers so many so many advantages to people who are affiliate members to JAR and to clients who use Jackson Realtors for their home buying, and our local mortgage lenders and inspectors, contractors, all that sort of thing. JAR is a great organization to be involved in.
It is, yeah, not just supporting local realtors, but like you said, bringing in different affiliates like lenders, title companies, insurance companies, and really bringing you all together to work for buyers and sellers as a team, which is incredible.
Yeah, the ability to work together and be able to share knowledge, like each one of us is an expert in our area.
Right.
The realtor doesn't necessarily know what I need, or the mortgage lender know what I need, and they might have requirements that the insurance agent isn't aware of. So we try to, at least within JAR, and what I try to do is coordinate with them to make sure that we're not just throwing out a quote to a client. We're actually making sure that the home is covered the way it needs to be. We don't want surprises from underwriting. We don't want the client, we bought the new house, very exciting, yay, and then nothing after, then they get a letter saying, oh, we're going to cancel, or oh, you guys have to put a railing up, or the roof has to be replaced within 30 days. We want to try and make sure that everything is in place, covered correctly, no surprises. They know, hey, this could potentially happen. But we also try and do the legwork ahead of time to make sure that type of surprise isn't going to happen, that the client can be cared for.
Right.
So, and then we can recommend, as an affiliate member, you have other affiliates who are in JAR. I'm also on Jackson Commercial Contractors Association, so I like to use the local resources to say, hey, you have this problem going on with the house, or this is potentially an issue, so after closing, here are these people that you call. Or if you have a claim, hey, call these people to fix your roof, call these people to help with flooding, whatever. And we try to just make sure everyone is cared for. The realtors handle the before and the sale, and as do the title companies and lenders, and then I'm here for after the sale. So.
Right. Yeah, you were sharing a lot of that with me off camera. It's a lot bigger process than I really realized, and I didn't realize that sometimes there can be some surprises to the buyer after the sale. So it's great really to have a really reputable insurance agent through that process. What kind of suggestions would you give someone if they're purchasing a home and they're going to obtain a policy? At what point in the transaction do they start reaching out to you?
I mean, ideally, 2 weeks would be great. That gives us time to look at the house, go out to the house, look at the house, see if there's any concerns. Gives me time to pull, if you don't have access to, or you don't know how old the roof is. The roof is a huge thing. I'll say that 1,000 times probably, but find out how old your roof is. That is going to affect how it's covered. Is it covered? Are you covered for trees falling on it? Is there previous damage? You need to see, are there prior losses, prior claims on the house? Was there a septic issue or a backup in the basement that you might not be aware of, but with a prior loss report, you can see, oh, they had a big roof claim. Oh, they had a water claim. Was it fixed, or did they get a check and fix it themselves?
Right.
You can see that sort of stuff and just be aware that the back deck's not in great shape. you're going to need to do this. You're going to want to put a railing up. You're going to want this, so that you're not surprised with any sort of potential issues from underwriting or rate increases or changes. And if we can get all that handled before your closing, that's ideal.
Right.
So
absolutely. So you said 2 weeks, and you meant
yeah,
2 weeks prior to your
2 weeks
closing
prior
date.
2 weeks prior to closing, you know, or if you have like an idea of if you're going to pre-shop even before you have a house picked out, that's fine. But you know, once you kind of have an idea when closing is going to be, I feel like people know about 2 weeks ahead of time. But that's the day before is not it.
Right.
Or a week before is not ideal, because I've seen where folks have gone to their current carrier, and the day before, the current carrier says, oh yeah, we can't bind this policy without a roof inspection. Roof inspections are scheduled out. You know, that could be 2 weeks. Not every carrier requires that, but some do.
Right.
And that's just one of those things where, oh crap, we don't have any insurance. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We close at 9. You know, that we don't want that situation. We don't want where I go to bind the policy and underwriting is saying, hey, no, there's an open claim on this house from 3 years ago. You know, like, we just want to make sure there's no issues. So as much time as we can have prior to that allows us to have a smoother closing process.
Right.
And
that
then
makes sense.
we need to find out anything additional for the client, and just want to make sure you have everything covered the way it needs to be covered, not over covered, not just here, this is the cheapest thing I can come up with.
Right. And speaking of that, maybe even prior to 2 weeks before closing, because you were telling me a lot of times they should get some policies to compare to each other, because the deductible can be very different. Really, there are a lot of things on paper you may not catch, so you might want to get some comparisons.
Yeah, deductible is a big deal. That can make a huge effect on your annual cost. But can you afford, you know, if it's a 1% deductible, what's 1% of your house? If your house is covered for $400,000, can you come up with that $4,000 deductible?
Right.
Or more? Is your lender going to allow that? Some lenders won't allow you to have a deductible that's too high. And I don't want you to have a $5,000 deductible anyway, because then, I mean, you're paying a lot of money for insurance. Let's make sure you can use it when you need to. So try and find a good number that works for everybody, and also allows you to be able to feel like you're getting a little bit of, you know, potentially a little bit of return on what you are paying in.
Right. And some peace of mind that if you do have a catastrophe that you'll be
prepared. You are
prepared.
covered. You know, is it covered if a tree falls on your house? That's not standard.
Right.
And certain things like appliance leakage is a bit, you wouldn't think it's that big a deal, but do you have a pot filler? That's something that I found out, you know, that can be a massive claim. If it's leaking behind the wall, or your water dispenser from your fridge or the toilet line, you know, that breaks, and that's, you know, the toilet can be 1,000 gallons of water in a short amount of time. Do you have coverage for that? And how much will that company cover? So those are things to consider, not just, oh, this one's $900 and this one's $1,200, or this one's, you know, $50 different. Those are things we need to look at, and that can also affect you being approved on your mortgage. If you're doing the Cadillac of coverages, but you need it to be $50 less a year to have your mortgage approved, maybe we look at making a change somewhere that still gives you the correct coverage, but allows the mortgage to not have any hiccups with it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that all these same things still apply for someone who's been maybe in their home for 5 years and they haven't had that insurance policy reviewed. All these same things could be an issue, and so it won't prevent a closing, but they certainly should still reach out.
Yeah, if you haven't had your insurance reviewed, I mean, yeah, auto, you know, getting that done, you know, here more often than home, but home definitely, I mean, within 5 years, because what has changed massively in the last 5 years in homes now is obviously construction costs. So, for instance, my parents' house value hadn't been evaluated since 1999. So obviously to rebuild their house now is way more than it would have been in 1999.
Right.
If it burned to the ground, is that enough for you to cover it? You know, and it would have been half roughly. So, I mean, if that's, you don't want that type of coverage. You want to make sure that you can rebuild if you need to. If you lose everything, you want us to be able to help you out with that. You don't want to be stuck to where you're having to struggle with coming up with more money.
Right.
And then also like making sure, you sit with the same policy forever. Did you ask the right questions when it was written? Did you know? Because most people don't know. That's not their job. Make sure things are covered, but get several quotes, go to whoever. There's a few companies, Farm Bureau's just Michigan, so you're not paying for disasters in Florida and California, so that's nice. Most Farm Bureau agents are going to be local to your area, so you have someone who you can call and get a hold of. You're not calling an 800 number and getting flow.
Right.
Or
and you
whoever.
were telling me you go to every single property.
Yeah, I go to every single property.
Yes.
And see it myself and say, hey, I can at least tell you this might be an issue, or no, everything looks good. Might say, hey, we're going to look at doing something this way versus this way, and here's why. And I like to provide multiple quotes so people can see, here's this coverage, here's why I think that's okay. If you don't care about it, that's fine. We don't have to do that, but here is what it does and why it's there.
Right.
Because most people don't have any idea what they're even paying for.
Right, and that they have some options.
Or if they're overpaying for something they don't need or is irrelevant, So we just want to make sure that you have options, and it doesn't have to be from me but whoever you go through, even your current, you love them, you want to stay with them, have them reevaluate it. They might not be aware that when that policy was written 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago, I have people that have been with Farm Bureau for 40 years. And, most Farm Bureau agents are really good about doing reviews. We try to be, but we do miss things. We're busy, everybody is. But as the homeowner, you want to make sure that you're protected and you're not calling in a claim and then your policy was written 10 years ago and that particular thing wasn't something that we thought about covering 10 years ago. Cyber coverage, identity theft, that type of thing. And which is standard now. So you might want to get your policy looked at and make sure that there's the coverages that you need for your family and for your home. And
Right.
Well, business is the same. You have business coverage, your life policies, all that sort of stuff you should look at. Not
Certainly
just
auto, like you said.
auto. Yes, always.
Well, you sound like the expert they should be calling. You really know your stuff.
I appreciate that. I try, and even if people aren't with me or what, I try to be helpful, provide information, at least ask these questions.
Right.
And then do what you want. I'm always happy to answer questions for people, but just want to make sure that we're doing the best we can, especially for our community. We're here, we live here.
Right. Well, if folks want to reach you to get that quote, how can they get in touch?
They can call me. It's 517-748-1757. My email's thatch, so first initial last name at FB like Farm Bureau, INS like insurance, MI like Michigan.com.
Perfect. Well, this is great information. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate being on.
Yes. Whether you're buying a home and need an insurance policy or would like your current policy reviewed, give Taryn Hatch a call.